I will start, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi and very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nurul Husna. I am the librarian at AAU Knowledge Center. It's my pleasure to welcome all of you here to this afternoon to series of ProQuest database training. As we all know that this is our second session with our invited speaker, Miss Kunirji Malar. The previous session is on ProQuest One Business, which Ms. Kunirji have shared many beneficial information yesterday. As you all know, ProQuest is one of the databases subscribed by the AEU that will help you to identify the most relevant and reliable academic contents. Today's session, we will cover on education's collection, art and humanity databases, and also computer science database, plus and not this on ProQuest dissertation and thesis global. The ProQuest dissertation and thesis global database provide collection of multidisciplinary dissertation and thesis from around the world, offering millions of citation and full stack works that from thousands of universities. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any question during the session, you can type them into the question, and Miss Kunirji will answer your question. Now, without further ado, we will turn the time over to the invited speaker. Our presenter today is Miss Kunirji Malar. She is a customer experience training and consulting partner from ProQuest. Please welcome Ms. Kunirji.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Aida. Thank you for the warm introduction, as well as, thank you for organizing this session. I think we have been planning for some time. We have actually planned for 3 sessions, and we have done one yesterday. Some of you have attended the session yesterday, and today's session, and also there's one more on the 17th of March. Yeah. So in addition to Ms. Aida's introduction, so I also like to give a little bit more about myself. So I have been with ProQuest about almost 2 years. Prior joining to ProQuest, I was always in the information service industry. I have almost about over 20 years of experience in working closely with the corporate sectors, the legal industry, as well as academic institution. Yeah? And of course, I'm now residing in Malaysia. That's about a little bit about me. So moving forward, so today's session is going to be a little bit heavy in a sense. You have multiple databases. So I think like Ms. Aida mentioned earlier, you have about 4 content that we need to cover. So before that, I just want to know, can all of you hear me clearly, my voice? If you can hear me clearly, you just say yes in the chat box. Always monitor the chat box. Use the chat box to communicate with me. Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. Anyone are not able to hear my voice? Obviously, you will not be knowing that my question. So let me put it in the chat box. Okay, for those who are not able to hear me, if you feel that you have some audio issues, just check your mic system, the settings, and also your speaker. Yeah. Okay. So I assume the rest of you can hear me because I don't receive any no here. So I can assume that all of you can hear me clearly. So again, so today's session, we're going to focus on the education collection. The database is called Education Collection, and we have Arts and Humanities database, Computer Science database. So along with that, you do have ProQuest Dissertation and Thesis Global with focusing on the Humanities and Social Science collection. Yeah. So what it means, what is this content means? So Education Collections, Art and Humanities database, or Computer Science database It's a collection of content that contains multi-formatted information. That means you have your scholarly journals, you will have some news information, you probably have some magazines and things like that. So you will have a mixture or multi-formatted content within this first three database. And the ProQuest dissertation and thesis, you see that the name itself says dissertation and thesis. So the content that you have in here, it's solely on the dissertation and thesis done by users across the world. So if you want to look up for some examples of dissertation or thesis done by users in the area of humanities and social sciences, you are able to find it here. So now the next question is, how many of you all know how to get to this platform? How many of you all know how to get to your knowledge center? Yeah, your knowledge resources. Yeah, it's called, yeah, it's knowledge resource. Yeah. How many of you all are familiar? Okay, no problem. Okay, so before that, if those who are not familiar to get to your this content, is very easy. All that you do is you go to your library resources or your resource center here. Okay, this, I'm sure this is, you are able to access to this site. Miss Aida, if you want to share the link, you can share the link on the chat panel. Yeah. And very simple, as you scroll down, you will see the subscribe online database. So you just click on it. Yeah. And you need to enter your credentials. I'm sure by now you already have your access, your student's username or your password, yeah, your credentials, basically your access to this library gateway. I'm sure you have it. So once you have entered that, you will come to this part. Wait, hold on. Okay, so you will come to this page. So in this page, all that you do is you actually can go into your online database. Yeah, so if you click on online database, and if you type in ProQuest, that's all. You just type in ProQuest here. So you will have the list of ProQuest resources that you can access to. So you can see that you have access to your ebook central, your this is business premium collection. Now it's been upgraded to ProQuest One Academic. ProQuest One Business, like what we did yesterday. That's the one here. And you have your computer science database here, arts and humanities database here, ProQuest education collection database here. Eric would be part of this database here. And you have the ProQuest dissertation and thesis, ProQuest dissertation and thesis global, on the topic of the humanities and social science collection. So this is how you access it. Yeah? So very easy, straightforward. The moment you enter your credentials, you will come to this page. This is very important. If any one of you not able to access to this content, please email to the library team. They will definitely help you. Why I'm saying this is, the first thing is resources are very important. Where do we find it? We just want to, when you want to start a topic of your research, you need to know, do I have enough materials to support my research along the way? So how do you know? You have to come back to your library portal and do a quick search to see, do you have enough materials? If you have a topic that you may not have enough materials, then you will need to consider again, do you want to continue with this topic because you do not find much resources, materials, not only from your library portal, or you are not able to access it elsewhere. So make sure that you know where to go, find the resources relevant to your research topic, so that along the way you know where to go back to have the access to the content. Yeah, so this is first thing, very important. So now we will just go back to what we're going to start with. So let's say we will start with I want to start with the education collection. Yeah, just let's start with education collection. So this, if you see, the databases are named very easily to be recognized. They are under the subject. So education means whatever the information you find here will be education related. So you can see this is relevant to education of all levels, yeah, including childhood education, primary, secondary, and higher education. So if your research relevant to early childhood, or if your research is relevant to the 21st century of learning for the higher education, then you will have to, you can actually use this database to do your research, and many other topics we will see that later. Okay, so in this database, when you click on education collection earlier, it has been very nicely I would say put it together with other data, other content that's relevant to education database. So it's already, you have the collection of education database, this the ERIC, the thesaurus, yeah, it's a thesaurus, and also you have the ProQuest dissertation and thesis humanities is grouped together. So when you search here, that means it will go through all these three content or the collections, and you will get your results. So when you come to this page, before I go further, I just want you to let you know that you have a couple of ways to discover the content. One is through the basic search, advanced search, and publication search. So before that, let me take you through this this one here. So if you wonder what type of content, what type of subjects do I get from here, so you can quickly have a quick glance here. So if you are looking for secondary school students related topics, or classroom, or if you are looking at distance learning, I'm just picking some topic: education policy, educational leadership, educational technological changes, advancement, and all that topics, you will be able to find it in this collection. Yeah. So I just want to again give you a brief kind of tips, literature searching tips. So why do we need to know about this database? Why? Okay. Can anybody share with me, why do we need to know about this information? So these are all information, resources. We call it with a different name: sources, resources, information. So why do we need this information? Can you just share your answers in the chat box? Feel free to share with me. So let's make this as an interactive section. Why do you need your resources, your literatures? Just you can say it from your view. Yeah, for your literature review, to defend the topic. Yes, yes, and others. Okay, I think the answer is given very specific, right? You want, usually if you come as a user, as a researcher, you will want to look up for literature review, literature content, literatures that supports your literature review, so then you can make an argument into your research topic. So that's why you are here. But there could be many other objectives when and some users come to this platform. So one of it is just to browse and see, to even get a title. You have not gone into, you have not, probably have not finalized your topic, but you are still into glancing for, looking for topics, research topics. So you can come to this platform for identifying research topic, or you can, if it could be the instructors who will want to enhance their syllabus. They want to find new information so they can enrich the syllabus, or to revamp the syllabus and so on. So that could be their reason. So they need to come to this platform. And the stages, the researcher stages of the stage of research, researchers can be in the very beginning, looking for information, identifying research topic. It can be the one in the midst of doing your literature review. You want to enrich your literature review content, or you are in the final stage where you want to just fine-tune your literature review. You can see that there's some gaps in your literature review, and you want to go in and find for information to just support that argument. So it can be any stage. So you can come to this platform and you can be in any stage of your research. So to do so, it's easier if you know, if I go here, I can find this information. So that kind of convenient, you need to know where to go for your information is very important. Because if you have gone for that classes, you know that the process of the research and writing will not be like, you know, I complete my research, then only I write. Yeah, it's always it's like research, write, research, write. So research, write, repeat, research, write, repeat. So it actually goes back to, you know, I have to do this because I started writing, I put it into my draft, so then I know that if there is a gap here, I need to close it, so then go back to do the research. So if you know that process, then you need to know where to go for your information, which content do I want to use it. So that's why it's very important. So you at that point, when you are doing your research paper, you may not have enough time to do a lot of explore. So you do it a lot more earlier, probably in the very beginning of your starting your research. You know where to go, where to find it, how to find it, and so on. Now, the third one is you know the content, you know where is your scholarly journals. If not scholarly journals, you want to look up for working papers. If not working papers, you probably want to look up for your dissertation and thesis, so you know where to go. Now, these are all in a platform, yeah, in a research platform. The content has been put into a research platform. It can be, of course, easily searched, easily found, but you need to know the technique of finding it. Because this is not in the Google that you can put in any terms and then get some answers. The first 10 or first 15 results could be relevant. But this is academic content which has been highly indexed. So you need to apply some techniques to find those information. So know your content, know your search strategies. Then once you found this information, you need to evaluate. But for evaluating content from databases such as ProQuest or any other databases is much more simpler as compared to you go into your open source. So if you find something in open source, you need to do a lot more evaluation, yeah, to make sure that it's relevant, it's reliable, and so on. But with the content from the ProQuest or content from any other databases, it's a lot much more lesser process of evaluating. Most importantly, make sure that it actually complies to your cultural as well as your social context. Yeah, that's all very important. The last one, organizing. Always remember, if you are doing research and you found your information, organize it well. So this is very common among new researchers. If you do not organize it well, you do not put into a matrix, or you do not put into your citation management system, or if you do not put it into your local drive with the folders or with very organizing way of put into the contents correctly by folders and so on. When you want to write and you want to do the references, it's going to be very difficult. Remember this. So it's always good to have it into your citation management system. So learn the citation management system and learn how to import information from the database to the citation management system. Okay. Now the sharing part is useful if you are doing research with your group of members and you just found that collections of information that you want to just share with your team members. You just use the URL and share the information either for a specific document or to the entire search. Okay, so these tips that you need to learn today, basically that's the thing. But the content can be different content. The content can be education, the content can be arts and humanities, the content can be computer science. So the information that you find, it will be relevant to whatever that the content type that it's associated with. Yeah. Okay, now I think this part here. Okay, we go into the platform itself. So some will have this interface, some will, yesterday if you noticed, the ProQuest One business has a very different interface, and usually most databases will have this interface where you have your basic search with this one search box here, and you will have, if you want to confine to full text or peer-reviewed information, you can do so by doing this. Yeah. Why is usually that who will use this to do your this? Usually people are those users or researchers who are looking for, in the midst of fine-tuning your literature review, you want to find the full text as well as the peer-reviewed information. So usually you will do that. But for those who are new, looking at this platform to get some ideas, I would always say go to the advanced search form. Okay. Why is advanced search form it's important? Because in advanced search form, you have all your search fields are being embedded here. So search field, what is the search field? Why is the search field index is very important to you? Because all your content that you have, scholarly journals, working papers, your conference papers, your magazines, journals, dissertations, and so on, they all have their own unique indexes, index or the segments. So to find certain segments or to find information from those segments, it's easy to use your index field. Okay. So some of the commonly used index field would be your abstract. I always recommend users to use your abstract. Use all subjects indexing. If you are looking for if you have a broad topic and you want to see is there any research that relevant to the broad topic, use all subjects or all subjects and indexing. Okay, the rest of it very specific, going into locations, or if you are looking for company specific companies and so on. Usually I don't go for that. You go for this. And the other one is the document title. So if you already refined your topic, you know your main topic, you are going to look at all the arguments content that relevant to that topic, or you have identified the framework, and in your framework you have 4 main subjects that you want to access. So those can be your document titles. Okay, so you can use that. Okay, these are the main 3 that I want to share with you today. So now, how do I use this search field? So it's just like, a lot of people say, what's so big deal? Just use it in the Google. It is. Of course, you can type in your terms, but it is slightly different because you need to apply the techniques. So I do not know if how many of you all have explored the e-tutorial with regards to the search that I have shared yesterday. I'm not sure if some of you attended yesterday, able to access it. Anyone have accessed it and looked at it? Okay. So for you to be familiarized, I'm sharing again that e-tutorial link that relevant to basic search strategies, the tips, the publication search, as well as the advanced search. Yeah. So to go through that, I have a simplified version here that I can share with you. Okay, this is worth of learning because it's not only applicable for your education collection, but also if you are using your arts and humanities, ProQuest dissertation and thesis, or even your computer science database, it is applicable. So it is applicable for every the whole ProQuest database. As long as you're in the ProQuest interface, it's applicable to you. So in ProQuest database, we want to know how, when I put in a term, how ProQuest platform react to it, right? We want to know how it responds to our query. So most of the time, our search term, so usually when you want to plan your search term, you will do a search map, because this is your topic. So your topic not necessarily will be on just one search form. Yeah, so your topic might have 4 main subjects, factors or subjects that you want to focus. Then from there you branch it out and say, okay, this one could be, the synonym of this term can be this, the other synonyms, you have your synonyms, your related terms, all that compile into your word map. Make sure that you have your search term map done before you start searching. That will be very helpful. Okay, so let's say from there you find that you start your search and see, just an example, it can be any terms. So this is digital marketing. I'm using digital marketing as an example, or it can be air pollution. So you see that has more than 2 keywords. Yeah, more than 2 keywords. That means system will automatically recognize it, read it like digital and marketing. So, but in your case, you say no. Actually, I want it as a quotation mark. So you put it as a quotation mark, and you get this as a phrase. This is very common among most databases, and it's also applicable for ProQuest. Yeah, and the best part is ProQuest database automatically recognize the singular and the plural nouns, the comparative and superlative adjectives, the spelling variances between the British and US spellings is automatically recognized. So you don't have to worry about this. So in this page, just remember quotation mark for the phrase. Okay, now this is where I always talk about Boolean operators and proximity operators. Okay, hold on, let me go on the video. So the proximity operators or Boolean operators, if you have gone for your literature classes, or if you there's information literacy classes, you will know that this Boolean means they are and, or, and not. These Booleans are like a connector, like an operator that will relates to the terms. Yeah? Sometimes we have more than 2 terms, more than 3 terms, more than 4 terms. So we just want to relate the terms as we want. So like I said, this is automatically. So if you put in 4 terms, it will automatically recognize the and in between. So we are not going to talk about and. So we'll focus on or. Or is very important because remember I told you to come with the search term map. So in your search term map, you may have your main term, yeah, and then you go on map it and say, okay, indigenous. In some instances or in some contexts, it also can be natural, or it can be even says as organic, or it can be also known as original, you know. So if once you have done that part of research, the preliminary search on your search terms, then you apply it. So you come to this platform, you say, it's not only indigenous, but I want to have all these terms to be in here. So you just use them as, you don't say indigenous dash natural dash original, but you add the or in between to relate the terms. So indigenous or natural or original or organic. So you will get all this in it, all the terms, or you will find any one of that. As long as that they have used any one of the terms, you will find the information. So focus on or. And proximity operators, it sometimes is important, especially if you want that if you have more than 2 terms or 3 terms, you want them to be in context. Yeah, you want them to be in context. So you can use the near /n. So near /n is a number. So you can just change this number to either 5, 10, 15, 20. So in this case, what I want is I want marketing effectiveness, but it's not necessarily just write marketing effectiveness as it is, but it can be also written as marketing effectiveness of marketing, effectiveness level of marketing. So if I want all this to be included in my result, then I use this search technique. Okay? Not to worry about this. There is also a tutorial on that, video tutorial. You can relook at that. Okay? I will show examples later how it works. Okay. Now let's move on. This asterisk is, I'm sure you have heard about this asterisk. Yeah, this asterisk is very important. This is called as a root expander. So usually you know how the sentence is structured in a different way. It's written by many authors across the world. So we do not know in what context they have applied the term. So what is the best is to always think about if this term could have some expansion, some additional variances. So if you think there is, just identify the root word, add in some these asterisks, it will automatically find the rest of the variances. So you remember the asterisks. So just go back, recap, remember the quotation mark for to have this as a phrase, and or to expand your key terms, near /n, a number, right, 5, 10, 15, to ensure that they are in context. And then this one is for you to have all the variances at one go. Okay, just remember that. So this is what I was saying, that it's worth of knowing the search technique for ProQuest, because it applies across all the databases. Like I say, whether you are looking at the dissertation thesis, or you are in the arts and humanities collection, or if you are even in the education collection or any other databases. Now coming back to the this is actually advanced search field. Yeah? So you can see abstract, document title, subject headings, how it reflects. Now I'm going to go into the details now. Okay, so we are here at the social science database, which you have your education collection, your ERIC thesaurus, as well as your dissertation and thesis. Yeah, so you have all that in here. So how this works, again, in advanced search form, so you can use any of these search fields. So it depends on your research objective. Hold on, I'll just pick some example. Okay, so in the education database, so your topic can be any topic. So if your topic is relevant to, say, for example, STEM education. This is just an example. So I'm just doing STEM education. So when I do this, it basically saying STEM and education. And what I want to search is to see, is there any research relevant to STEM education, because this is very broad. So I use the all subjects and indexing. I just want to know, because you're new to this platform, basically need to know what is it relevant here. When I did the search on STEM education at the subject level, subject and indexing level, I've got so many results here, 19 over 1,000 results here. And those are all coming from scholarly journals, books, dissertation and theses, newspapers, magazines, and if you click more here, okay, trade journals and so on, speeches and presentation as well, working papers and so on. So you need to wait a minute. Okay, I will show an example of what happens if you do your search in the basic search. Now, why I recommend the advanced search is, now I'm very sure the STEM education is been categorized under the subject. So these are all collections of information where STEM education has been categorized as in the subject. So how do we know? If you open up any of this content, just open any of this content. And if you go into abstract, okay, so you know this is already covered on STEM education. So this is already been categorized, or if the subject has been indexed under the STEM education. But if you do your search in the basic search, I will show you the differences. Yeah. But if you are saying no, STEM education is not, I just not only looking at it as a broad subject, but STEM education is my research topic. So if you say so, I will show you a different way to search it. Okay. Now this is all the research comprising scholarly journals, books, dissertation, newspapers, everything under this collection with the let me rephrase it. The collection that's been indexed under the STEM education, yeah, STEM education. So if you want to know again a little bit more about this, you can always go to the subject index here and say, okay, yeah, these are all subjects STEM education related. Within the STEM education, maybe I want to look at specifically on science education, or I want to look at mathematics education, or just learning. Or if you click more, you will see that you will have more other options for you to pick from here. So these are all, this is how you are now getting exposed to topics that's relevant to STEM education. Okay. Now let's go back to here. Okay, so my advice, if you are doing your research for the first time, do not confine to full text or peer reviewed yet, because you want to explore the content and the research done in the past. So some of it comes with abstract only, but as long as you know, oh, this particular system or this particular topic exists, so you know in the back of your mind, yeah, this research exists. And if you want to find for the topic, you either go into your other resources, the other databases, or to you go into your whole, go into your discovery layer to find if there's any topic on that. On top of that, you can also go to open web and see if there's any topic on that, if you don't find it here in full text, yeah. So, but if you are doing your, if you just, like I say, if you're already at the stage of refining your literature review, then it's okay. Then you just change this to full text. You say, show me only full text, because I want to read the whole content. I want to summarize, analyze, synthesize, and put it into my research paper. So now you will have only full text if you select this as full text. But if you're going into scholarly journals, then you want to see only the peer-reviewed journals, you're not looking at all the journals, then only you can go into here and you can do the peer-reviewed only. Okay. Scholarly journal, show me full text and peer review. So you will only focus on peer review and full text. Okay. Okay, now let's go back to what happens if I do my search in basic search. So if I were to add the basic search, okay, this could be my search term, okay? This could be my search term. So if you're doing your search, you probably enter like this, am I right? Kumuta, you want to respond to that? You will do something like this, right? Okay, so if you do something like this, add the search box here, what it means is it will search across the entire articles, regardless subject, regardless topic, regardless the abstract, everywhere in the articles. As long as STEM and education is mentioned, you will get the documents. So it can become a little bit overwhelming, yeah? Even though you find the first 10, 20 or first 100 documents are relevant, but as you go on, you will realize it is just mentioned about one or twice in the articles, but it is not all about STEM education. Okay? So that is the difference. You still can do such a way and do a little bit of refining if you want to. When you are here, if you modify it, okay, you can come back and say STEM education, and if you want to focus on science education, okay, you can do. So you can still do it here, but my advice is to use the advanced search box so that you can get more refined information. So now let's say you want to do the same search in the advanced search box. Yeah. What you can do, if you want the same type of result, you can still do it here. Then you say anywhere. Yeah. STEM education, let it appear everywhere. Okay, so you get that. Then you say at the same time, I also want to focus on the STEM education to appear at the end, yeah, and at the okay, the same thing, STEM education, going one step further, also appear in the title. Okay, so this means you will get only all the about STEM education, but the STEM education that appears at the title, it's only 2,000 documents. Yeah, so you see that. Or you can remove and say not necessarily. I don't want to have it this. I basically want the STEM education at the title level. Sorry, hold on. Hold on a second, yeah. Okay. Okay. So now clear this off. We are saying that I want STEM education at the title level. Okay, so this is very specific, targeted. That means I will only get results, the same results we got it earlier, that only talks about STEM education that appears at the title. So we know that if it's the title, if the title is about STEM education, then it's definitely going to be very relevant. And if you want to expand it a little bit more, you can also say not necessarily the discussion about STEM education at the title, but go into at the abstract also. Okay. So now this is one good way of searching. As long as there's information about that kit, the search term in the title as well as in the abstract, we know that it's relevant. So you know why. Okay. You got it, yeah. So why it's good to also search in the abstract? You know that when we come out with the research, when you do your research, I'm sure you are always asked to do a very good abstract. So abstract is very important. Spend a lot of time to come up with the abstract, because whenever somebody is discovering the content or searching for those information, they always use the abstract. The moment there is the discussion about the topic in the abstract, then we know it's relevant. So that is why I always emphasize users to use some of this technique. Yeah, you use the title, you can use the abstract. Now you have more, even more. So now then of course you can go and confine and say, give me, because I'm looking at the trend of STEM education. Because STEM education is only a trend in last 10-20 years, so you can see a lot of information here. You can also confine and say, give me last 10 years of content, and you update it and so on. So now when you are here, you have an option to explore it such a way. You have scholarly journals, dissertation, books, or if you go in, you can look at working papers as well as magazines and so on. You will explore that later, but I want to take you to dissertation and thesis. So dissertation and thesis, if some of you have attended the session yesterday, it's a very good documents that you want to access first. Yeah. So for example, this is probably not in the language. You can actually confine to language, to English also if you want to. Yeah. So let's say this is about the state-by-state policy analysis of STEM education for K-12 public schools, or maybe we can look at some other, or this one here, understanding the pre-service teachers' visual conception. Maybe just look at this. Why I'm taking you to this is to show you, if you find some similar articles or similar dissertations, zoom into that. Okay, zoom to that. Before you zoom to that, okay, before you zoom in, just to ensure that it's something that is relevant or something that is worth your time looking at it, you can always look at the abstract here. Okay, look at the abstract. Okay, in the abstracts, usually they will have all this, the purpose, the methods, and the results, the findings. So usually at the findings, they will let you know, there is a limitation. This is the findings like. This may need some, there will be some recommendation to future research. If you don't find it here, as you see this, if you quickly read this, if you see, it's worth of looking at this research, then you can go into your full text. Yeah, go into your full text. Okay. So in your full text, you will see this. Why is this article is important? Why is this dissertation and thesis important? This is actual graduate works. This is from University of Austin. Yeah. So you know that this is an actual graduate work done by students in this particular university that relevant to this topic, and you want to see the examples. So go into your table of content. sometimes if you look at a few examples, then you will know, oh, okay, maybe I should lay out, or I should structure my research to this content, like, you know, you can have an idea. So you can see this comes with the introduction. Here is the literature, either they call it literature review or the review of the literature. So they talk about the science education reform, 19th century, 20th century. All this is being discussed in the literature review. As you move on, you can see what methodology has been used. So in your research, you can either use some different methodologies, or you want to use the same methodologies, and you have an idea basically what has been done in the past. And very importantly, if you haven't started the topic, always go to the conclusion or the discussion or the recommendation. So that is where they will talk about the research for future research. They believe, like, you know, this is what should have been done. There's limitation here. You know, this should be the future research like. So for you, you will have some understanding about, okay, I want to do this research, but you know, I don't want to do the same research as I find it here. Probably, or if you want to do the same research, you probably have your research, you're probably analyzing in a different country, in a different context, in a different region, and so on. So you can look at all that information here, so that you at least you have some ideas to start your research with. Yeah, or if you have started, you can still use this as an example of your research. On top of all that, I always believe that if I have some ideas about this topic, or how a dissertation and thesis looks like with a very analytical information, at least I will have some good discussion with your advisors. So when you go back and talk to advisors, you can even have a good discussion. You can even suggest that I want to add this into my dissertation. Can I add this into the dissertation? Otherwise, you will be receiving always on the receiving end, or you don't have much to provide input from your end. Yeah, so it's always good to look at this content. Okay, so explore it based on your research topic. Explore the dissertation and thesis. Here you have STEM education itself, like 2000 over dissertation. Once you have that, you can go in and see the scholarly journals. Okay, books, you can of course read about books, magazines. These kind of magazines or newspapers is good to explore before you decide on the topic, to see is this topic is highly discussed. In the STEM education, what are they discussing? Are they discussing about the women's involvement in STEM education? Is it a current topic? Is it something that you want to even do your research here? All that things you can find it by just quickly looking at the research topic here. And the scholarly journals, very important. You have access to your scholarly journals here. So these are all the scholarly journals. This is kind of new, 2018 as well, because we have confined it to last 10 years. So, but if I open this up, I will even have more than that, more than 5,000 over result. Okay, so you see I have confined it to about 12 years. So I have this much of result. And when it comes to STEM for scholarly journals, of course you can now, after you have glanced through, you can change this to full text. And if you want to confine to peer-reviewed content, you can do so. Okay, now let's move on to look at this one of this. This is evidence-based information. Yeah, it's a meta-analysis literature. Okay, so if you don't find the full text on the left here, usually it's here. So you'll take you to probably the internal repository to find the full text here. So I want to show you something that is already have been tagged here. Okay, let's take this one. If you find some of the articles, something like this. Okay, so on your left, so you have the full text in PDF. You have the references as well. So if you see this, you can see the references used, the sources used to come up with this article. So you can also If it's linked, of course, you can explore it from here. If it is not, then you just copy the topic or the title and then just search it in the open web or in any other databases. And this scholarly journals is cited by one other citation, so you want to see who have cited it. So this article have cited, this journal have cited that this particular article, so you can see why they cite it and say what is their view, because this is also evidence-based information, yeah, evidence-based articles. So you will see that from the different view why they cite it, and what are they saying about it. Okay. Now same goes for your education, your dissertation. If they cite it, just watch why do they cite it. Are they supporting like what your argument is in your paper, or is it something contradicting with what you are saying? So you have more if you want, you can actually express your critical point of view in your research as well, because you know that many others have a different view, so you want to express this as well. Okay? So remember that. So it's lots of information in this content that you can use it for your research. But the search term is yours. You know what you want to search. So I'm just showing you one or two examples in the education related topic. So your topic can be hybrid learning, blended learning, learning transformation, religious education, instructional design, or even you're talking about early childhood education, 21st century critical thinking skills, 21st century skills. All this you will find a lot of information here. And earlier before that I did a search on women and about women teachers, instructors, lecturers, or teaching resources. Also a lot of information here. So to get the topic is yours. To use the technique, I think that's what you learned today. Yeah, just now you just learned that. Now just scroll down a bit, clear this form. If you scroll down, you will see that there are some indexes. Why do you have indexes here? It's because in this database, it's inclusive of the dissertation and thesis. So if you want to if you want to collaborate with some advisors, you want to see what the advisors have, what type of dissertation and thesis they have advised, and how is their trend like, you can explore that. But otherwise, if you are looking for institutions, so let's say if you are looking for some top institution, let's see if there's any relevant dissertation by that particular institution, you can explore. If you don't want to search, you can just go by alphabetical order. So let's say I want to look up for Oxford. Oops. Okay, I'm going to look up for University of Oxford or University of Oxford here. Probably I get a few other options, but just leave it as it is. Okay, I want to look at this university specifically. Yeah, University of Oxford, UK. What it means here, you can actually add on and say you want to look at Cambridge, or you want to look at Imperial College, or whatever any other top universities that you want to search. You just add on, just look up and add it on here. But now let's focus on one of these universities. Just go from here. Okay. Why is this important to do so? These are definitely relevant to your education related topics, because this is, or not really education, could be social science, arts and humanities related topics specifically. So you will see that these are actual dissertation done by students from Oxford. So if you want to explore and say what subjects is the leading subject that you want to explore. So if your research is to do with literature or linguistic, of course you can still go and look at it, philosophy, economics, let's go and see what other subjects, yeah? Cultural anthropology. So if you want to change this, you can change this to alpha. You click here so that it will sort it out by alphabetical order. So you can access it accordingly. Okay, so see which topic could be relevant to you. Okay, like education history, education itself. If you are interested in education, then you will, okay, you can explore this. Or if you are looking at gender, or if you're looking at any other sub-language, or teaching English as second language, or something, anything relevant to your studies, to your research, of course you can explore it. So by doing so, let's say if I put in something like that, like teacher education, I will get the actual dissertation by Oxford on the teacher education related topic, which you can see why, what's different, what are their research finding, leading to, what's their research finding like, what's the difference between their research, their dissertation, and what you're doing, things like that. You will have a good exposure to access to the top universities' dissertation and theses. Likewise, you can just check any universities, just go in and just add in any name, and just look up for the name and find it. This is basically go by subject. So if you have a subject on educational technology or educational technological hybrid learning, you just search by subject and you will get the result. So these are more relevant to, when you're using this index, these index are more relevant to the dissertation and thesis. Yeah? That's why you have those universities there. So remember, when you do your search here, if you wonder which content it goes through, so it goes through every of this content. But if in your mind, if you just want to look up for scholarly journals and dissertation, then you just confine it like this, add your topic here, and you search it. Okay, that's also doable if you don't want to do everything. Language, of course, you can confine to English if you want to, otherwise just leave it. Yeah? So now I just want to share, there's a thesaurus here that is relevant to the ERIC thesaurus. Let's go to ERIC. So if you want to find for the synonyms or the related terms, so if you type in something like this, anything to do with education. Okay, so you find like I do have topics such as hybrid learning. So if I click on it, what it means is it is actually saying that it is also relevant to, it's a part of the broader term, blended learning. It can be, blended learning is used for hybrid learning as well. So then in the broader term, it comes under the teaching methods. In a very narrower term, it can be a flipped classroom. So you get all this. What you can do is you just select all this if you want to explore all this, or you can leave it, you just want to explore blended learning, and you basically explode it. So what it means, exploding it means, you are saying that any other terms that are relevant to blended learning, the content that relevant to blended learning, show it to me. But if you are saying no, just basically on the blended learning, then you use major. So if you use explode, so what are it? Okay, so this is how it goes. What happens is it will look up for all the information that tag under the blended learning and give you the results. Okay, why I don't find it is probably I have some terms have been, okay, hold on a second, yeah. Because I still have this. So clear the form first. This is something I remind everyone, which I usually, I myself, have to remind myself all the time. Clear it all the time when you start a new search. So go back to your thesaurus. Just keep to it can be any topics, you can change it to any of your topic you want to. So I'm looking at hybrid learning. Okay, so in this box here, actually if you click on it, it will give you the definition of blended learning. or the teaching method or the flipped classroom. So if you are interested in explore this, just explore it such a way and just search it. Why is this important is if you are not familiar with the search terms, you know that you're basically looking at blended learning, hybrid learning. So you can just come to this thesaurus and get the system to discover the information for you. So you see these are all definitely relevant to blended learning, and from there you can again okay, question, yeah, very good question. So without filling the advanced search details, yes, you can go to, that is for those people who are not sure about the terms, but you know the very broad term is blended learning or hybrid learning. So you don't have to go to your advanced search form, straight go to your thesaurus, okay, can be done. So that's what I did earlier. I didn't go to filling it into entering into the search forms. I go direct to the thesaurus. So from there, you can see that you probably say, okay, within the blended learning, I want to see the educational technology. What is happening in the educational technology, which is relevant to the blended learning. So then you can, of course, you have all the materials here. If you want to find for the new latest ones, just change this to the most relevant and go on. So use of the thesaurus, ERIC thesaurus is very interesting, especially for those who want to discover new content without thinking about too many topics. From there you can expand. From there you can expand, go to your abstracts, going into the details. You can actually enrich your knowledge. Okay, now clear this. Okay, I'm going to go back to what we have spent quite a bit of time on the education collections. It's a huge collection that you had here. So if I say I want to move on to arts and humanities. So if you go into arts and humanities, what happens is you will only get arts and humanities right now. So if you want to put in this together with the dissertation and thesis, you can do so. Okay, what you do, okay, I was quite fast just now. So when you click on arts and humanities, you come to this page, and you see the subject coverage is from anthropology to philosophy to modern languages to classical studies and etc. So if you want to add the dissertation and thesis, you go to change database. Okay, now enter this. You can have your publicly available content. You can add in your dissertation and thesis together. Okay, the rest may not be relevant. If you want to add coronavirus, you can. Okay, then now when you start searching, okay, so you start searching. So now your subjects is relevant to arts and humanities, right? It can be any topics that's relevant to arts and humanities. So it's very broad. Arts and humanities is a very broad topic. So up to you if you want to look at what gender inequality, cultural diversity, anthropology related studies, indigenous related studies, any topic, human rights relevant, that's relevant to arts and humanities, you can enter here. So what happens now is you will get information such as, let me put in gender inequality. Okay, gender inequality. Where do you want it? You want it at the abstract, or you can also have it in the title, but now because we want it more content, we just leave it at the abstract. So these are all content that talks about gender inequality at the abstract level. You see that is all at the abstract level. Okay. Then if you want to confine this and talk about gender inequality that happens in the where? In workplace, right? Okay. Now recall the asterisks. So workplace, what else can be, right? So you just put in work or workplace, so you use the asterisk, and you want to look up for either in job or in your employment. You would have discovered the terms earlier. Employment. So work, workplace, or job, or employment, or you can also say if you think there is any variances, you can put in the asterisks if you want. Where again you want all this to be at the abstract as well. So now what happens, it will be very, very confined. You probably have very less results. This is still huge, yeah, still huge. You will see that you have, this is talking about employment, gender inequality, talking about women's employments, gender inequality. Okay, so you will see that a lot more as you go. So you either can break it down and say, I want to search on gender inequality at work or workplace, and then do another search. You can do it on job or employment, or you can do it at one go if you want to. Yeah, it's up to you. If you want to break it down, you can do. So it's easier to break it down, so then you access and then find your information, put it one side. Okay. So now what we are doing right now, we are now doing research that based on the arts and humanities, but what I did, I actually have enriched the content together with the dissertation and thesis. So for those who wants to have, it doesn't matter. In fact, just let me use the entire content, doesn't matter. So just select all of those and you just use selected database. So that means you do one search across multiple database. Okay? You can still do. Sometimes you can even find gender inequality appears in the ProQuest one business. It could be in the education. It could be in the arts and humanities, and it definitely will be in the dissertation and thesis as well. Okay, so now you can leave it like that and say, okay, this is my search. I found the information. I want to share it with my team members. Yeah, I found full of information. I'm going to refine it first. Okay, now let's refine it to say I want last 10 years content, last 5 years content, and yeah, so that's only refining that I'm doing. You can refine as you like. Okay, now save this, share this information to your team members. So how you do? You use this save search or alert, and if you drop it down like this, you will see get a search link. Okay, get a search link. So this link, if you take it, just copy it and share it into your email or your learning management system, the users or the person who access it basically enter the credentials and they can access to this whole content. That means you are sharing. You say, I found this, I've done the research, I've used the terms correctly, now this is the sources that we need to go through. So if you're working in a group, working in a team, then this will be a good way to share those information, share this information. But otherwise, if you say, no, I actually have doing it on my own, I basically want to download all these documents and keep it into my folder, you can still do so. So all that you do is just select all that, go to the 3 dots here, and a second, you can export it to your citation management system, or you can save it into your folders, research folder. I will show you how you can save that into your research folder. Hold on. Let me go to my access right now. This is your ID. Any questions so far? Okay, this is the part I'm coming into where you organize your content. Yeah, remember I said when you want to start writing and start do the in-text citation, or if you want to do your the references, it's very important for you to have either your citation management system, or you can use this platform to do your citation as well. Let me show you. This is my ID. Okay, this is my ID. Okay. I will get, if you notice, this is my database. It's a huge database I have. So the content results will be slightly different. So you take it as it is. What I'm going to show you here is to show, I do a search, right? One search. 1 second. Yeah, I'm just doing example only. So just gender inequality. Of course, I have here. So basically, I'm saying I want last 5 years content, and you know how you can share it with your team members using the get search link. But if you want to save these searches, you want to save this whole thing into your folder, you can basically go into. You need to create a folder. Remember, this is up in the institutional level. Then if you want to access to your own personal folders, because you are right now saving this in the search into your personal folder, so you need to create a folder. This is called a research account. Just create a folder. Creating a folder is very easy. All that you need is your email address and a password. That's it. You create. The moment you create, you can start using already. So just sign in here. Yeah, you don't need an approval. There's no one will approve. You basically can use it immediately. Most likely there will be a validation. That's all. You just start. After you've validated, you can just start using it. Okay. So once you sign in, this is the folder where you can keep all your research documents, your research searches that you've done. This is where I can just put in all my content here and come back and access it as and when I want to. And searches that I've saved is here. I can still get the link from here. If you don't want to come back and relook at all this content again, you can just create an alert and say, alert me if there's any new content is being added to this platform on this particular research topic. Yeah, this is the research topic. This is how it will search automatically. If this new content added next week, you want to be notified. So basically, you just create an alert. It will take, it will actually capture your existing email address. You want an additional, you can add it here, and use newly published documents only, how frequent you want, and how long you want to receive the alert. That's it. You just create the alert. So once you have created the alert, so all your alerts that you've created will be here, and how it's going to benefit to you. Yeah, you can use institutional ID. I would say use the institutional ID. It's better for you to use institutional ID. But if you have personal ID, also fine. But whatever it is, I would recommend you to use the institutional ID. Okay, so when you're here, you are able to manage the alerts. So alert, how it's going to benefit to you is it will send you an email saying, hey, look, there is a new article on this particular title, early childhood. Do you want to have a quick look? So when you click on it, enter your credentials, then you come to this platform directly. So that will stay yourself updated with your development of your research topic now. And go back to the topic that we have done searches earlier. How do I retrieve it? That's the question. Can you retrieve the content? Okay, let's look at this search. Yeah? Search. So if I were to find like some articles that I want to download, or if I want to export to my citation management system, how do I do it? So this is the one. So let's keep to the full text. Okay, it takes a bit longer, but let it load, doesn't matter. Actually, what it means, what I'm doing right now, what it means to you is to show only all of the full text content here. Hold on, it takes a bit longer. Okay, it's okay. Let me look up for. Okay, now let me. Okay, so it's like here is these are all full text. Let's say I want to look at scholarly journals. Okay, so if I want to get this as, you see why is it important to look at this? You see it's cited 26 times. There's also a reference if you want to explore. And if you click on it, and here, of course, you can download it into the full PDF text. You can download it from here. You can do if you don't have a citation management system, you can quickly use the citation here. So you can pick on the citation styles that you're using currently. You need to know your own citation, required citation styles for your institution, and then you just copy this. Copy this, go and paste it into your references. If you don't have a citation management system, but if you have a citation management system, it's easier because when you want to cite it, you just go integrate your citation management system into your Word document, and then you can cite it immediately. You don't have to worry about the styles and so on. So if you are using RefWorks, you can directly import from here. You can use Noodle Tools, EasyLib, and so on. But I believe most of you use Mendeley or maybe use Rotero and many others. Not to worry. So as long as you have EndNote or even Citevi, just export it to the RIS file. Okay, when you export it to your RIS file, so you can continue here. So if you have Mendeley, in fact, if you have already installed, then it should appear when you export it to your RIS file. Or if you have RefWorks, you just directly import to your RefWorks. So it should appear here. So you basically click on the Mendeley and it will import to your Mendeley. Otherwise, use your Notepad. Use your Notepad, and this is where all the metadata is imported. Then save this and you go to your Mendeley and import it. For those who are doing research and you want to use it into your citation, in your research to cite your in-text citation as well as your references, so that will be a very good way. Okay. So very lastly, I have covered all the important points, but for those who want to access to, hold on, let me go to the site correctly. Okay, here, if you are going into computer science, then you just go into this computer science database. Okay, now I just want to show you, it is very much whatever that I've shown you, but the subject coverage is from computer science, web commerce, land, internet, intranet, and so on. So if you're in your search term is relevant to computer science, then if you're saying that you want to look up for internet of things, yeah, for example, so you can just search it, something like that. Either you do it from the subjects, or you want it from the abstract, or if you want it from the title, you just, it's the same way. The concepts are the same. The concept is exactly the same like what we did for education, the arts and humanities, and etc. So if you see that it is also picks up the of and so on, so what you can do is you can always put in a bracket, put in the phrase and say, actually I'm looking at Internet of Things as a phrase, not Internet and of things and things like that. So no noise word, so just put in the bracket, the quotation mark, or you can also say IOT. Okay? Like that. Okay. So now I have covered all the databases, but I have emphasized some on the search techniques, some with the search terms, and some on the how you can make the to identifying the content and how to maximize the content into your research. and also how to organize the content to support your research paper. So this what I have gone through is a very intensive session today. I hope you have benefited, especially those who are embarking on a research journey, have not started, or you haven't just started. If you're new to research, yeah, you are new to the academic writing, then this is very important for you. Okay. So I now open the session for, we have 4 minutes more. Any question? Any questions so far? Please feel free to ask question, or if it is a bit too overwhelming, not to worry. We have recorded the session. Later on, you can watch it. You know. But explore it. Actually, the more you use the platform, the more you will, you will find information. So it's definitely you need information when you want to start writing. You need to have more concrete, evidences, information to support your research. So definitely you need to explore it a bit. Any other question? What about others? Some of you have been, responding to my question, have put in some question. So that's good. I hope I have answered all your queries, questions. What about others? How many of you all have started doing your research paper? Say yes if you have, say no if you have not. You can say in the midst of, you can say if you are almost completing. Okay, that's good. It's very it's good to expose yourself as early as possible, especially exploring the citation management system. Put in all that and practicing, just do a quick practicing how you can doing the in-text citations, the references, and most importantly, how do you want to analyze the articles, synthesize it, and how do you want to present it. I think learn that a lot more earlier before you start your research. Once you have started, it's going to be, it's going to be like a roller coaster, very, very, sometimes it can be overwhelming. So it's good for you to start it much, much earlier. Okay, I think if you don't have any question, I have shared the survey link, yeah, the post webinar survey link in the chat panel. So please feel free to fill it in. And okay, so I'm now handing over to Miss Ida. Do you want to do the closing part?
Okay, sure. Thank you, Miss Kunirji, for the great presentation and fruitful session just now. It's like we cover all the topics. Thank you again, Miss Kunirji. It's a pleasure to have you with us today. Thank you also to everyone who joining us today. We really appreciate you being here. Please be reminded that we do have one more session left, which is on 17 March next week, next Thursday. At the same time, we will cover on O'Reilly for higher education and ProQuest ebook central. Kindly register yourself for that session. Thank you again for joining us today, and we will see you next week.
Thank you so much, Ms. Aida, and thank you for all the participants. Yeah, thank you. Tomorrow there is a public webinar. If you go to the ProQuest event site, there's a public webinar on art of using the resources, yeah, to support your academic writing. So if you want to go for that webinar, please sign up. It's 4 p.m. Malaysia time. So you can look up in the events, ProQuest event site. You can sign up for that. I can send over the flyer to you later, Ms. Ida. Maybe you can share it in the portal. Okay. Otherwise, thank you so much and have a great day. Today is Thursday. Yeah, have a great day ahead.